Hey everyone, what's up and welcome back. If you're new here, I'm Liz, and today I have a cooking with me video, or cook with me, whatever you want to call it. I'm making lasagna soup. This is something super simple, super easy. It's kind of like hamburger helper. If you ever had it growing up, it was a staple in our household when I was growing up. We always had it. It was either the lasagna hamburger helper or the beef stroganoff one. So this one, I started with my Dutch oven. I put some avocado oil in it and I'm heating that up. Meanwhile, it's heating up, I'm cutting up some onion, mushrooms, and peppers. And I have this in basically little clips just so you can see the entire process from start to finish. This was something that was a massive hit for all of us. We ended up eating this and we watched, we just kind of like hung out after. It was nice. It was a really good meal to have. It was cold. It was before we just got our snowstorm, because the day I'm editing this is the day that we got another 10 inches of snow here where I live. Just lots of snow. We have more snow in the forecast coming Wednesday into Thursday, so it's going to be a nightmare. But here I'm just doing a rough chop through our mushrooms, and then I'm going to move on to peppers. I'm using an orange pepper and a few orange peppers and a few red peppers. These are the mini sweet peppers. I got these from Aldi, just like these mushrooms and just like the onion that you saw me cut up. I only used half a large Vidalia onion, that's what it was. So 1 orange pepper and 3 red peppers, that's what I'm using. And then once I add the sausage to the pan, which you're going to see in an upcoming clip, then I add in all the veggies. But so far I am just chopping all the veggies and you're going to see it all in a bowl together.
Come on, let me hear you say, let's go undercover. I wanna be your lover. I don't want the games they play. It's not us, so we better stay.
So as you saw, that is mild sweet ground sausage. You can use any type of sausage. The recipe I was actually looking at called for hot sausage, but I wanted to use mild. So once your Dutch oven is nice and warm, or nice and the oil is hot, you want to add in your sausage to it, and then you want to start cooking that down. And that is what I'm going to be doing, is letting that brown so I can add in our vegetables. I started using a plastic spatula, and then I thought about it. I was like, I should just use a wood one. So I end up switching. That's why you see me kind of have a blonde moment right there. But the whole process of browning the sausage, you really want to get that nice crust on the outside of it. So during that, I am taking care of the dishes that were dry, and then you'll end up seeing me do some other things in the kitchen while this is cooking. It's not just straight up cooking video. When I cook, I also clean the kitchen at the same time and clean up after myself. I've always been like that, and I don't like keeping a dirty kitchen. So here I'm adding in some garlic powder and some onion powder, and then I'm also going to be adding in some Italian seasoning and salt and pepper. My salt and pepper mills have lights on them, so when you turn them over, it lights up. So if you see that right there, that's what that is. Those are my salt and pepper mills. I got those for Christmas from my husband. He said it was actually a present to him, but it's actually for me. It was a good laugh to have when he sent that to me. When he gave it to me on Christmas, and when he said it. So here I'm just letting everything brown. You're gonna see me move the sausage over to the side and then add in all the veggies. That way I can season those and then incorporate everything together. I also believe I add a little bit more of oil to the pan as well, and some butter. The butter, when you add it, it's so things don't burn in the pan. You see it's getting a little smoky, but that's because everything is cooking. It's getting all of that stuff off of the bottom of the pan, and then I just decided to put the cover on the Dutch oven. I also moved it from the left burner to the right burner. There's an issue with my stove. I don't know if it happens with all electric stoves, but the front left burner gets so hot so fast, even if it's on low. The rings will turn bright red. It's crazy. Here I'm adding in however much spinach you want, and I did 2 handfuls. And during this too, this is when you add in your noodles. So you can just get a box of lasagna noodles, and then you just want to crush it up and you just want to put it on top. That basically, this is a dump and go crock pot recipe, Dutch oven recipe, one pan recipe. That's what it is. This is a one pan recipe. It's super easy, super simple, especially if you are a busy family. You could literally just brown the meat the night before, put everything in the crock pot, and just let it go to town on low for 4 hours. Or if you only needed 2 hours, just cook it on low for 2 hours. It all depends on how the consistency of the pasta that you want and what you have in it. If you add more to it, obviously you're going to need more time. But for this all together, it took about 40 minutes for it to start to finish. For cooking, prep time about 10 minutes. So this is a realistic meal that you can do on the weekends if you're not busy, or if you work weekends during the week. If you have some time to prep some of these things, you can just go ahead and make it. So you want to add 1 jar of sauce, and then you also want to add chicken stock or chicken broth to this. So I got a family-sized chicken broth from Aldi, and what I did was I poured it in the sauce jar and then dumped it out to get more of that sauce out, and then I just poured the rest of the chicken broth into the Dutch oven, and then I'm going to give it a nice zhuzh around, and we're going to cover it, and we're going to let it cook for 40 minutes. You also want to season each layer. So after I added in all the liquid, that's when I wanted to re-season it with the garlic powder, garlic powder, onion powder, and pepper. I didn't add any more salt to it because if you add too much salt, it just won't taste good. So here I'm wiping down the counters, and then I'm going to move over to the island. I'm going to wipe that down, and this is going to be leading up to the end of this video. Like I said, I like to maintain a clean home, and I like to maintain a clean space while I'm cooking. My kids know that. My husband knows it. It actually infuriates my husband, but it's because I have a severe allergy to mold, and like I explained to my kids today, if there's mold in the house, it is very lethal to me. And our landlords know that, management knows that. They're hyper aware that if there is mold in the building, then it has to be taken care of, because I will get extremely sick. And I also can't take any medicine that's derived from mold, like any of the cylinders or anything like that. I will die. Anaphylaxis is a real thing with that. So if you also are in that same boat, it stinks. So here, this is when the soup is done. You can add the ricotta into the soup at this point, but what I did is I put it in the bowls. I did a serving size of ricotta in each of the bowls, and then you put the soup on top, and then you put mozzarella cheese on top of that. It was adding the ricotta into it gives it a nice creamy effect. You can also add heavy cream into the soup too to lighten the red color, and it really rounds out, if the soup gets a little too salty, it will round out the flavor. It's kind of like adding acid to something to balance out your pH level in your cooking. If you understand that, then you will know what I mean. So here you're going to see me put the soup on top of the ricotta cheese, because as the soup itself breaks down the ricotta, it will give it a nice creamy effect in the bowl, and it just makes it so yummy, so tender, so gooey. So just like, my husband loved it. He had some high reserves about this meal, but he absolutely loved it. My youngest was not a fan. She likes lasagna as it is, not how I made it this way. So she has requested me to make lasagna next week, and I totally am okay with that. My oldest loved it, and I also loved it too. I literally would eat this all day, every day. My husband actually took it for leftovers for work today, because that's how good he liked it. So here, this is before we all ate. I'm just topping it with a little sprinkle of mozzarella cheese. You can also put some parsley on top, a little bit more pepper. I put a little bit more pepper and a little bit more salt on top, because I just like the way it tastes. But that is going to wrap up this cook with me video. I hope you guys enjoyed this recipe. This was something completely out of left field for me to make. I've never made anything like this before, and it is something that will become a staple in our household because every one of us enjoyed it. I hope this inspired you to try this and to just really like step out of the box when it comes to recipes, because with me doing this opens a whole nother like avenue of recipes I can try with our family. So I'll see you guys tomorrow in another video. Bye everyone.